It's extremely obvious that Kevin Stefanski doesn't mess with Shedeur Sanders the way the outside public believes that he should. When you think about this process, it feels that Kevin Stefanski wasn't ready to draft Shedeur Sanders, and then upon drafting him, he didn't put a plan in place to handle the person. You have to understand with Shedeur Sanders is going to come more media attention, more scrutiny. He's going to be treated unlike anything else in that locker room or anything else we see in the league based on his position. He won't be treated like a backup. He won't be treated like a third stringer. He won't be treated like a practice squad guy. You're going to have to answer questions about him, which is why you need answers prepared.
Ryan Clark just dropped a truth bomb so explosive, the Browns' entire locker room probably felt the aftershock. He didn't just talk football, he exposed it like it was the season finale of a scandal-packed reality show. The man peeled back the curtain on Cleveland's so-called strategy, and what spilled out wasn't pretty. Are we witnessing drama, delusion, or full-on chaos inside that building? This mess is hotter than a Gatorade cooler flying across the sideline. And hey, before we dive into the madness, don't forget to subscribe. It helps more than you think, especially when the tea's this wild. Because trust me, no thunderstorm hit Cleveland this week. Ryan Clark did. 1 second, everyone's pretending everything's fine, smiling for cameras like a family portrait. The next, the internet's in flames.
Man, some things that Kevin Stefanski is saying and the way he's going about things, some things are just not adding up. And Ryan Clark of ESPN basically exposed Kevin Stefanski this morning on Get Up. He had a very interesting take on Kevin Stefanski's motive. Also, this is all surrounded around naming Joe Flacco QB1.
Why? Because Ryan said what fans have been screaming at their TVs all season long, that the Browns head coach might just be the only man in Ohio afraid of winning. Picture this, a rookie quarterback who looks like he was built in a football lab. Shedeur Sanders, calm, sharp, polished, the kind of guy who makes veterans start updating their resumes. The dude's highlight reel rolls smoother than a Netflix trailer, and every throw screams, superstar! But somehow, in Cleveland, that's a problem, because when you've got too much confidence, too much talent, and too much shine, the insecure ones start to sweat. So Ryan Clark didn't tiptoe around it. He detonated it live on air. He said what everyone else was too scared to admit. The lights flickered, jaws dropped, and the internet exploded. And in that moment, every Browns fan finally connected the dots that maybe this development process they keep bragging about isn't strategy at all. It's just a fancy way of saying we have no clue what we're doing.
That should be it in terms of seeing a dual threat at the quarterback position with extreme athleticism being questioned as to whether or not they could play the quarterback position. What's the problem? I see no problem. So I'm pretty ticked off that Ryan Clark deleted his tweet, according to the reports. Because what you take it down for? You were right.
Think about this for a second. Shedeur walks into training camp cool as ice, firing lasers like he's been throwing touchdowns since recess. Reporters can't stop talking about how clean his passes look. Teammates are calling him a natural, and fans, they're already ordering his jersey before he's even officially touched the field. But when that depth chart drops, what happens? He's not QB2. He's not even in the conversation. You could almost hear the whole city of Cleveland gasp in disbelief all the way from Lake Erie. It's like the Browns drafted him just to show off that they recognize star power, not because they actually plan to use it. A PR stunt disguised as a football decision. That's the classic Cleveland special, where real talent gets benched while the staff holds another meeting about the process. The same process that's been running in circles for years. Ryan Clark didn't just notice it, he torched it. He called out the Browns' entire mindset on national TV. This wasn't about competition, it was about control. Because in Kevin Stefanski's world, the system always comes first. And if you shine too bright, if you bring too much energy or personality, suddenly you're a problem. He wants silence, structure, and strict playbook loyalty. Personality? To him, that's like throwing an interception before the snap. But here's the kicker.
And yesterday, he wouldn't even go so far as, and I understand your point about maybe it's not a great thing to be the number 2 on the depth chart. Okay, we'll get into that. I understand what you're talking about, but there's just a principle involved here where at least you acknowledge that by default, just by default, Flacco is now gone, Kenny Pickett's now gone, just by default, Shedeur moved up a slot. Yeah.
Cleveland hasn't earned the right to act picky. This is a team that throws a parade when they hit .500. And now they've got a young quarterback who's calm, smart, and dangerously good. And somehow that makes everyone nervous. The locker room got too bright, too fast. And the coach, he's squinting like the light's exposing more than he can handle. It's not like the other quarterbacks are lighting up the scoreboard either. You've got veterans moving like their controllers ran out of batteries and backups treating short passes like they're solving calculus problems. Meanwhile, Shedeur's standing there cool as ever, just watching, waiting, studying, like he's secretly filming a documentary called How to Waste a Rookie Year, the Cleveland edition. You can see it in his eyes. He knows exactly what's happening, but he's letting everyone else expose themselves first. Apparently, this is the Browns' new version of player development. Bury the kid with actual potential and hope that mediocrity suddenly becomes trendy. It's like owning a Ferrari, but choosing to drive the family minivan because the coach likes the way it handles in traffic. Make it make sense. Ryan Clark wasn't letting that nonsense slide for a second. He called it like it is, plain and loud. He said what fans have been whispering all along. The coach never even wanted Shedeur. The front office made the call, and now Stefanski's just babysitting the move, like he's stuck with a decision he didn't sign off on. Once that kind of tension starts, it's game over. You can't coach what you don't believe in. You just manage it until it collapses, then act like it was part of some genius master plan.
Dylan Gabriel was bad. Kevin Stefanski was bad. The receivers were bad. Hospital balls, drop balls, super sacks, interceptions dropped. It was just bad all the way around.
And every little sign gives it away. The tight-lipped interviews, the vague press conferences, the classic "we'll see what happens" line. That's coach speak for "I'm not happy, but I can't say it out loud." Meanwhile, Shedeur's out there at practice throwing lasers so perfect the defensive backs probably need therapy. You can just picture Stefanski sitting at his desk late at night, one monitor showing Shedeur's flawless footwork, and another looping a meditation video titled "How to Ignore Greatness." Preseason didn't calm the storm, it blew it wide open. Shedeur walked out there calm as ever, reading defenses like he was scrolling through his phone. Pocket collapsing? No problem. Pressure mounting? He's smiling through it. And when the QB2 spot opened up, fans thought it was finally his time. But guess who got the call instead? Bailey Zappi! Yeah, the same Bailey Zappi who can't hit a slant without sending the ball on vacation. That decision was the NFL version of ordering decaf during a night shift, completely pointless. Fans lost it. Within hours, Shedeur suppression was trending everywhere. Sounds like a conspiracy, right? Except this one actually feels real. Social media went crazy with side-by-side clips. Shedeur throwing precision darts while Zappi was overthrowing open receivers like he was allergic to accuracy. It wasn't even a debate. It was a highlight reel massacre. Yet Stefanski stood firm, hiding behind the same recycled excuses. Competition, patience, development, translation? He's stalling, because when a coach feels that seat getting warm, the safest move is to pretend he's playing chess while the rest of the league's already finished the game. The deeper fans dug into Ryan Clark's comments, the clearer the picture became. This isn't just about who's second on the depth chart, this is an identity crisis. On one side, you've got the old school coach desperate to keep control of his system. On the other, a new generation quarterback who is the system, confidence, charisma, and chaos all rolled into one. Shedeur isn't just a player, he's a movement. He was raised in the Shedeur Sanders ecosystem where swagger and discipline don't fight each other. They work together.
Quarterback, it's time to part ways. It's time to trade him. It's time to get him out of your locker room, because clearly your plan for development is not to develop Shedeur Sanders as a future starter of your team, and too much comes with him if you don't see that sort of plan.
The spotlight isn't the enemy. It's part of the job. He walks into a room and cameras automatically follow. Coaches like Stefanski, they hate that. They don't want a star. They want silence. They don't want attention. They want obedience. They'd rather win quietly than deal with someone who trends after practice. So instead of adapting, they resist. They tell themselves they're protecting him. But protecting him from what? From success? From attention he's already earned? Because from where everyone's sitting, it looks a whole lot like Cleveland's protecting their comfort zone, not their quarterback. The Browns are acting like success is dangerous, like the end zone might explode if Shedeur actually reaches it. It's like they bubble-wrapped a diamond and then complained that it doesn't shine. Inside that locker room, the whispers are getting louder. Some veterans are quietly saying the kid deserves more reps, while others are amazed at how calm he's staying through the nonsense. He's not just handling pressure, he's mastering it. Meanwhile, Stefanski can barely bring himself to say Shedeur's name during press conferences. Reporters ask about the quarterback situation, and suddenly he's talking in riddles about process and competition. Then, when asked directly about giving Shedeur more reps, it's always the same tired line. We'll evaluate in due time. And in Cleveland, due time usually means right after it's too late.
About this, but this was hitting bottom yesterday. This is all-time shameful on the part of Kevin Stefanski. This was Kevin Stefanski pretty much declaring public war on Shedeur, at least Cold War on Shedeur, because he won't even speak Shedeur's name in these interview sessions. It's like Parcells when T.O. was there. He wouldn't even call his name. He just called him the player. Remember that? And this is degenerated into every time he's asked about.
Ryan Clark saw right through that too, and he called it out. He said what everyone inside that building's been thinking but won't say out loud. Leadership without belief is just noise. You can't motivate a team when everyone knows you're ignoring the most talented guy in the room. Eventually, players stop buying in. Once trust fades, it doesn't matter how many playbooks you laminate, the whole season's already cooked. Then came the Kobe comparison, and man, it hit like a sledgehammer. Remember young Kobe? Full of confidence, full of fire, and the coaches who couldn't handle it tried to humble him first. That's the same energy right here in Cleveland. Some coaches still believe the only way to earn respect is to make a prodigy crawl before he walks. But that's old school thinking wrapped in new excuses. Some players don't need to be broken down. They just need to be let loose. And Shedeur, he's one of those players, and the Browns are playing a dangerous game pretending they don't see it.
We let all this digest after the Cleveland Browns got beat by the Pittsburgh Steelers 23-9 today. And once again, Kevin Stefanski's offense looked mediocre and looked dismal the whole game. Now, Kevin Stefanski is the head coach, and he's trying to be the play caller as well. Kevin Stefanski's offense, he can't muster up enough points to win ball games when they have.
They don't need to be managed. They need to be unleashed. And the wild part, the Browns seem genuinely confused about why fans are losing their minds. Ryan Clark didn't just comment on football. He cracked open something way bigger. He exposed how ego can choke out greatness, how some coaches treat confidence like a threat instead of a gift, and how a team can brag about culture while quietly suffocating its own future. When Ryan dropped that take, it was like flipping on stadium lights during a cover-up. Suddenly, every fan, every analyst, every ex-player started putting the puzzle together. The weird roster choices, the cagey press conferences, the awkward sideline energy, and it all started to click. Even Shedeur Sanders jumped into the mix. Not directly, of course, but with one of those classic cryptic posts that sound half like scripture, half like a warning. Within minutes, everyone knew who he was talking about. And let's be real, the last thing you want is Deion Sanders and social media on the same side of a narrative that's against you. Then came the avalanche. Hashtags everywhere. Hashtag free Shedeur. Hashtag let him play. All over timelines, all over ESPN, all over the internet. Old clips from preseason started flooding back. Perfect passes, pocket calm. The kind of footage that makes fans say, how is this guy not starting?
What they talking about? And then there was the one man standing that was telling you what it was from the get-go. You see the Cleveland Browns get smoked by the Pittsburgh Steelers. And it wasn't even close. It wasn't even close. And I told you what it was going to be. It was nasty work. But now, it is now time to finally dig the hole and bury it. Finally time to get everybody out the way. And I'm going to do this one time and one time only, because you thought you could take charge.
Analysts began speculating about possible trade scenarios like it was draft night all over again. Imagine the Browns front office sitting in meetings, watching ESPN, while the rest of the league's already discussing trade packages for their benched rookie. That's not development, that's a countdown clock, ticking louder every week. Inside the locker room, that silence is starting to speak too. Reports say players are side-eyeing decisions, whispering that Stefanski's overthinking everything. Others think it's only a matter of time before he loses the room completely.
That Cleveland Browns organization, their offensive coordinator, Tommy Rees, a lot of people in that organization, even some of the people in the Cleveland media, saying that Shedeur Sanders is not ready. Do you realize Shedeur Sanders has put up the most points for the Cleveland Browns all season long, with 21 in his first preseason game against the Carolina Panthers? Ever since that, the Carolina Panthers haven't put up.
Sure, it's quiet right now, but it's that kind of quiet that feels dangerous. Because silence under pressure isn't peace. It's the warning before the break. And once the fan base starts chanting your name, that sound doesn't stay in the stands. It seeps into the locker room, into meetings, into every decision. This isn't a rookie waiting patiently for his turn. This is a storm building pressure by the second. And when it hits, Cleveland won't just feel it, they'll remember it. Stefanski's biggest problem right now isn't just a quarterback dilemma, it's perception. The Browns are standing at a crossroads, and no matter which way they turn, there's danger ahead. Start Shedeur, and you're basically admitting you were wrong from the jump. Keep him benched, and you're not just risking losses, you're risking the locker room, the fan base, and whatever shred of credibility the coaching staff still has left.
Team. I don't buy that. They're not that bad. And right now they look as bad as any team in the league. On offense, they're the worst team in the league. The worst team in the league. You've got the best back in the league, okay? The offensive line play. This KT Tunstall on the Sunshine Boys. This guy sucks. Can we put somebody in there? You know, I mean, I get it. They're lacking at wide receiver. They don't have a left tackle. That's a problem. The talent's not good enough to really win. But when you...
It's the kind of situation that turns press conferences into what looks like hostage tapes. Tight smiles, forced optimism, and eyes that say, we're drowning. And here's the thing. Ryan Clark didn't cause this chaos. He just pulled the tarp off it. He reminded everyone what real leadership is supposed to look like. Belief, trust, and opportunity. Those aren't just buzzwords. They're the foundation of every winning team. He exposed what everyone's been scared to admit, that this isn't about football mechanics anymore. It's about control. It's about a coach trying to steer a story that's already left the station without him. Meanwhile, every other team in the league is watching, circling like sharks, waiting for the Browns to fumble this situation completely. And once that door cracks open, there's no going back. Because the second Shedeur steps onto another team's field and starts carving up defenses, Cleveland will be stuck living with the most Cleveland sentence ever spoken. We had him, and we blew it.
You want to ruin your credibility? Come on out here on Monday and try to defend this nonsense. But we got the receipts so we can give y'all what we're talking about. Cleveland Browns lose 23-9. They don't get 13 points. They don't get 10 points. They don't get 9 points, 3 field goals. But remember, the quarterback's in 26. It's looking like more and more and more. That not only your quarterback ain't in 26, but your coach is in 26-2. In the words of the great Loaded Lux, all them hospitals giving beds out. Grown man bars.
This whole saga is a masterclass in how not to handle young talent in 2025. Quarterbacks aren't just players anymore. They're brands, they're ticket sales, they're the heartbeat of a franchise. They shape narratives, sell jerseys, and draw national attention every time they take a snap. Coaches can either evolve or get left behind. And right now, Stefanski looks like he's trying to fax a game plan in an era where everyone else is sending holograms. The real kicker, Ryan Clark's closing line hit harder than a fourth quarter blitz. He said it plain and simple, Shedeur's got what you can't teach: swagger, composure, and legacy. Meanwhile, the Browns seem dead set on teaching him patience, something he doesn't even need. And if they keep this up, patience will be the only thing they have left, because every minute they waste holding him back, the league's already moving forward without them. Here's the craziest part. Shedeur Sanders hasn't even started yet. He's not sitting there waiting for approval, he's waiting for opportunity. And the second he gets it, all that talk about development and readiness will disappear faster than a Cleveland playoff lead. That's when the truth's gonna hit hard. The Browns didn't need to mold him, they needed to trust him. So while Cleveland keeps juggling excuses, the rest of the NFL's watching with popcorn in hand, knowing exactly how this movie ends. The rookie everyone underestimated is about to become the one they can't stop talking about. And when that day comes, Kevin Stefanski won't just have to explain why he benched him, he'll have to explain why he ever thought he could. And that's it for this one. If you're feeling this story, make sure to like, subscribe, and share. Trust me, you won't want to miss what comes next.